Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all for coming for today's AWS Session 1. I am Rutranil Sarkar and I will be your host for the evening. Today's session is based on walkthrough of key services for agent build. You will be discovering the essentials of AWS service needed to build your intelligent AI, and this session will provide practical walkthrough of the core building blocks from serverless logic to AI that will form the foundation of your hackathon project. So quickly, let's move ahead. A little bit about SuperHack. SuperHack isn't just about coding; it's about building market-ready agentic AI agents that drive innovation. Whether you are aiming for the top prize or want to showcase your idea, every great concept gets recognition. Moving on ahead, why should you participate in SuperHack? Well, not just for the prize pool, but this is your chance to turn your AI skills into real world impact, solving actual problems that IT teams and MSPs face every day. And get a wonderful chance to host your agents on the SuperOps agent marketplace and generate revenue. Secondly, you will learn directly from industry leaders and gain hands-on experience with the cutting-edge tools guided by expert mentors from AWS. Lastly, you'll connect with global community of the innovators, collaborate, share ideas, and grow your network. Next, a little bit on the prize pool. Well, this is the interesting part. You can see the winners get a handsome amount of this prize pool and total cash pool prize of $100K. So the winner will get $8,000. The runner-up guy gets a $5,000 prize and a special jury prize of $3,000. Also, we have a prize for best ideas for 6 teams. That will be $1,500 per team. Okay. Now, coming on to our speaker, let's meet Muthu Anamalai Chidambaram. He is a solutions architect at Amazon Web Services, recognized as a subject matter expert in serverless architectures, application identity, cloud native development, and app modernization. Muthu has led the transformative application development projects for diverse AWS customers act across sectors such as finance, aviation, automotive, and retail, helping them build and optimize their cloud strategies. Muthu, please. Muthu, your mic.
My bad. Am I audible now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for that introduction, Rudnil. A quick brief background. I'm a solutions architect at AWS. Have worked in multiple teams within AWS, working across segments. Thanks for joining today's session, where we'll go over how you can build AI agents on AWS, right? So that will help you, during your hackathon uh, building projects, right? When you're building projects, how can you leverage different set of AWS services specifically for agent building? So without any further ado, let me jump straight into, first of all, what are AI agents, right? Getting that understanding is very important, so that you can actually look at how you can convert the idea into a functioning agent, right? So it's a tectonic shift in terms of how we build, deploy, and interact. So already you may be building applications for different use cases, feature sets, but how can you leverage AI to automate most of the activities, including the different phases, not just the final automation, but during the build phase, during the deploy phase, during the interaction phase. So every single phase can now be automated with the help of generative AI technologies, and that's where AI agents come into picture. So if you look at it, initial versions of what we have as agentic AI today, it used to be rule based RPAs, basically, bunch of rule based evaluations, or what we call as rule engines in the preliminary stages, which required a lot of human oversight, a lot of programming, a lot of understanding of business logic. Whereas then you went on to small generative AI assistants, which achieved a specific predefined goal. Then the evolution happened where you can collaborate and have goal driven AI agents where they operate toward a higher level objective, not just a single task, but across a whole theme, rather than a single specific task. Now we have reached the pioneering stage where we have fully autonomous agentic systems which can independently set and execute goals, right? And you see on the right hand side we have high automations and less human oversight, so the agency for these AI systems is much higher. Now, to briefly put what AI agents are, they are autonomous or semi-autonomous software systems that can reason, plan, and act to accomplish goals in digital or physical environments, right? So if you look at foundation models that are how they are evolving, they are getting smarter by the day, right? From where we started maybe 3 years ago to where we are right now, we are increasingly seeing that the cost to run and the performance that we are getting, the price performance is always improving over time, and the quality of responses are significantly better, right? And we are seeing that there is a proliferation of models from multiple vendors, open source as well as proprietary, which are pushing the boundaries of what can be done uh, you know with these AI models, right? uh, what were the tipping points, especially for agentic AI? There were three things that we consider that were the tipping points, right? First one is the models themselves. So you have multimodal foundation models, input as a image, as a text, as a video. You have now foundation models supporting all these different modalities. Agent optimized models built for specifically working with agents, so that they can take better actions, better decisions. Then you have specialized domain models, for example models specific to industry like healthcare or finance. Think of any industry, there are now models specialized for that domain's data, right? And then you have collaborative models where you have multiple models and agents coming together to achieve a task, right? Those capabilities have now evolved, which has paved the way for agentic AI in some form. Then comes the tooling itself. Now you have compared to maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you have better orchestration for these agents, how you can piece them all together to get a complete end-to-end orchestrated automation solution using AI, right? And you have better capabilities now with these various different platforms out there, including AWS, for having sandboxes and testing environments. On top of that, there's one consistent pain that was always there when building these Gen AI systems, was observability and debugging, which have significantly improved over time, including the capabilities now on AWS for specifically observing Gen AI systems, through tracing, logging, and monitoring solutions. Finally, we also have evolution in the frameworks themselves. We have design patterns that have now evolved over time in generalizing a very good approach to building these systems using open source as well as proprietary frameworks, which make it composable. So now you can compose an entire agentic application with different components, right? And that's where these frameworks come in. They make it easier for you to plug and play, like a building set, right? You just build on top of each other with ready-made components available for you to build. That's where frameworks come in. Now, what's the vision for AWS, right? Our vision is to be the best place to build and deploy the world's most trusted and useful agents. So, there could be multiple models, multiple different style of, frameworks, but we want to be the place where you host and run the most useful, secure, and trusted agents that you can, right? So we are open to hosting, in terms of Bedrock capabilities, models from our partners, from different vendors, through the marketplace. You have so many options. We are not restricting ourselves to only models from AWS. We are open to models that are available on the platform, along with our partners, as well as marketplace, as well as we have now integration within Agent Core, which is a service that I'll talk about, where we are supporting integrations with any open source agentic framework like LangGraph, LangChain, Crew.ai, most of the popular ones, right? And we also support connecting two models running on OpenAI or Gemini as well. So, one key thing to note is enterprises are doubling down on agents. So 33% of enterprise software apps will include agentic AI by 2028, up from less than 1% in 2024. 15% of day-to-day work decisions will be made autonomously through agentic AI by 2028. These are all key things to keep in mind, because this is the way the world is evolving in terms of having a agentic AI strategy. So that's where the SuperHack hackathon would give you the time and the inspiration to think through how you can build AI agents for various different use cases and domain challenges that the team has come up with. But one thing that is blocking or enabling the business viability of agents is experimentation is easy, enterprise scale is hard, right? Over 40% of agentic AI projects will be cancelled in 2027 due to escalating costs, unclear business value, or inadequate risk control. So that is the pain point where building on a platform like AWS would enable you to keep a close track on the costs or the business value or the risk controls, right? Having secure configurations. So just touching on what I just mentioned, AWS provides everything you need to succeed with agentic AI. We have pre-built agents, we have tools, we have models, we have infrastructure, we have all the necessary expertise to make the agent building process easier for you. And this is the full suite of agentic AI portfolio within AWS, right? So you have at the bottommost layer our services like SageMaker and the AI compute like Trainium and Inferentia are specifically focused on model builders who want to build and train models from scratch. Or you can also leverage GPUs available within our platform in partnership with our popular vendors in the market, including NVIDIA. We also have SageMaker as a service where ML and data scientists can actually work on having a foundational model with customized use cases, weights, and parameter tuning, where you can build your own models. So it helps you in model training, ML ops, deployment, hyperpod capabilities. Whereas for the data scientists and the data for building the data foundation for AI, you have data processing, governance, storage and databases, vector search, all the foundational things that are needed to make your AI agent building easier on the AWS platform. Now for the hackathon, most of you would be focusing on Bedrock as a service, which gives you the capability. You need not go to the fine grained level at the bottom. Any engineer can build leveraging the services on Amazon Bedrock. So Amazon Bedrock, think of it as a platform that supports models from various vendors, including Anthropic, Meta. We have DeepSeek models available. On top of that, we also have our own family of Amazon models called Amazon Nova. On top of all of these models, you also have additional capabilities for packaging it to be enterprise ready, right? Which is where you have optimization, guardrails, customization, all of these customization with limited business data that you have. You can customize the entire foundational model specific for your use case. With guardrails, you can restrict your your AI agents and Gen AI applications to ensure that any rogue attacks or rogue requests from your end users are not breaking the system, and you have strong guardrails in place to ensure only the necessary info is going out of these models, right? And then you have agent core, which we'll briefly talk about. At a high level, think of it as a platform that has every key component that you would essentially need for building AI agents in a serverless fashion. You don't have to basically think about running it on EC2 instances or running it via ECS or EKS clusters or anything like that. You just point, configure, deploy, in a serverless fashion, and you get consumption based charges only, right? So you have agent core runtime, which is a hosting service for agents. You have gateway, which is a MCP server capability on top of your API calls, REST API systems. You have plug and play memory. You have first party tools like browsers or code interpreters. You have secure application identity and observability. So how all of these piece together, that I'll briefly talk in the coming up slides. On top of all of this, you have the SDKs for agents, where we have two key agents that we have, agent frameworks that we have launched. One is an open source agent called Strands agents that you see on the right hand side on top, which is a popular launched maybe about 2 to 3 months back. It is extremely popular to build AI agents using pre-configured composable components, and makes it easier for you to build end-to-end agentic workflows. You also have vertically integrated framework called Nova Act. Nova Act is a model come framework for building browser based integrations, where anything that you want to automate through browser interactions, or like let's say point click and moving UI based interactions, you can leverage Nova Act for those kind of use cases. On top of all of this, you have the application layer, where the one that may be most useful for you for the hackathon would be the one on the left hand side, Kiro and Amazon Q. Kiro is our agentic IDE. You can use it for quickly building applications, or end-to-end code bases, or if you already have an existing code base, use it for additional feature building in a specification driven format. Spec driven development is what we call it. Makes it a breeze to code any application, any idea, converting any idea into code is a breeze through with the help of Kiro. And Amazon Q is, think of it as the service that is powering all the code generation capabilities within the AWS platform, including Kiro, which helps you with code. QCLI is there, Q in Visual Studio Code is there, so you have Q available in the AWS console. So multiple places where Amazon Q acts as a helpful AI assistant for documentation, research, coding, or debugging in the CLI for operational work, all of these different use cases. On the left hand side, overall you see interfaces and protocols like MCP and A2A are supported wherever possible in the AWS ecosystem. And on the right hand side, you have security and policies. That is a given on the AWS platform. You have enterprise grade security always available for configuration and deployment and maintenance on top of AWS services. So these were, among all the ones that I mentioned, the most recent ones have been, that were launched at NYC Summit, where AWS Marketplace, where you can launch AI agents and tools. You have Strand's Agents SDK that I mentioned. You have Amazon Nova, which is a model for, end-to-end use cases, including multimodal use cases, as well as speech-to-speech, or real video generation or image generation. You have a entire family of models available on AWS, which are price performant compared to alternative models in the market. And then you have Bedrock Agent Core, which can help you deploy securely at scale, in terms of all the key components to build and deploy agents. Finally, you also have the information on or the announcement on Amazon S3 for vectors, where you have now a very cheap option available as a vector store on top of S3 buckets. Now, coming to how organizations are creating value with agentic AI, there are three key areas where we see agentic AI being leveraged, right? So the first one being workplace productivity, right? For internal use case within an organization, knowledge worker productivity, software development. So knowledge worker, think of it as anyone within your organization that leverages a computer based system through which they actually end up working, right? It may be your sales team, marketing team, software development team, your product team, any team that leverages knowledge based work. They have their own knowledge repositories, and they are basically using all of these different data sources or systems of records to build their or to do their day-to-day activities. Now that's where one of the areas agentic AI can help in workflow automations, right? End-to-end workflow automations for most common repetitive tasks. And to even build these automations, you don't need to have specialized knowledge. Purely from natural language, you can now build workplace productivity solutions. Then you have business workflows, your end customer experience on top of your product, doing incident management, doing demand forecasting. So these are all external workflows, or business specific workflows, not internal employee productivity alone, but for a business productivity as well as customer experience kind of use cases, right? Where if, like, let's say someone is creating, like, let's say a support ticket, just as an example, or a IT service management ticket, right? uh, these kind of things, you can have a bunch of orchestration or workflows where initially, as soon as the customer raises the ticket, you have a bunch of automated actions happening, and then only if the automated actions are not resolving a customer issue, then you route it to a actual human, right? And now with generative AI, the automated actions are extremely closely resembling what a human would do, and that's one area where agentic AI can help. And finally, you have innovation and research. Doing, your like, let's say, there's a data analysis team, there's a number crunching team within an organization. How you can leverage Gen AI or agentic AI to automate complex data analysis and simulations. That's one area where agentic AI can help. It can, connect with existing code, based integrations. You have code interpreters that can be run to compute, run some data, and on top of that data, you can do some analysis, decisioning, generation of reports, summaries. All of this can be done with the help of agentic AI. So, there are two key areas where we are repeatedly seeing, a lot of business value with agentic AI. One is accelerating software development, and the other one is reimagining business workflows with custom agents, right? For accelerating software development, you have pre-built agentic solutions, like I mentioned, Kiro and Amazon Q. Whereas for reimagining business workflows with custom agents, you can leverage services like Bedrock Agent Core, right? That's where we have tools for building solutions. So let's, get into how agentic AI can remove undifferentiated heavy lifting from software development, right? So you have, initial planning phase, then requirements definition, then design and prototyping, then rapid software development, then testing and QA, then deployment, and then finally ops and maintenance, right? These are the typical steps of SDLC. And even during the hackathon, you would end up, doing most of these activities at some point during the different phases to build a robust, solution, right? And that's where agentic AI can help you during the development itself. So that's where Q developer comes in. If you are already leveraging Visual Studio Code, you can install Q as a plugin. You can sign up with the builder ID. It is free. And you have up to 50 interactions per month free available on the builder ID based plan, forever free plan, which you can leverage for coding activities, simple projects, and things like situations like this hackathon, where it can help you with creation of applications and code. So Q's developer has software development agents, unit test agent, documentation agent, code review agent, transformation agents. All of these touch the different SDLC phases that I spoke to you about, right? So once you install it in VS Code, you'll be able to see each of these agents that I've just mentioned here. So there's one more thing on top of all of this. There's one more area where software development is changing, you know with AI coding strategies itself, right? So initially it was, from traditional programming, slowly everything came to code completions, and from code completions it went to chat based programming, where you get snippets of code and then you work with it. Then it went into vibe coding mode, where you just copy paste whatever the chat based interface is giving you, and then you end up creating some workable prototype or solution. Then it evolved into coding agents, where you have an agent that can actually touch files, make changes, understand, and then make specific targeted changes. Then it evolved into agent clusters, where you have different set of agents doing different style of activities, one generating unit tests, one generating documentation, one generating the feature set docs. Then you had complete end-to-end agent, the future is complete end-to-end agent fleets, right? So you have this inflection point where the entire uh, evolution of agentic AI for software development is drastically changing over time, right? That's where we have launched something called as Kiro. It is the AI ID for prototype to production. it helps you with spec based development. Instead of directly jumping to code straight away, you can ideate first. Again, Kiro is free. There's a free plan, there's a paid plan as well. To start off with, for this hackathon, you can leverage the free plan, where you can do spec based development, where you can also make the agent create a plan for you and then do the development, instead of directly starting out with code, right? Then you have the capability to steer the agents, asking the agent to do just some stuff and follow along, right? And then pause and steer the agent onto the right track if it deviates. Basically, course correcting the agents. Think of it like that, right? That capability is there. And then you can have automation with agent hooks. Think of it as scenarios where every time you save a file or you add a new file, you want to take some action. For example, every time you save a file, you automatically want to run some git commands to commit. You want to generate some unit test cases as soon as you save your .js files or .py files, or you want to update your documentation and diagrams whenever there is a change in any of the files. So all of these can be automated with the help of AI agents whenever you save a file, or any other trigger action, right? So all of these are differentiating feature sets for Kiro as a AI ID, which can help you move your proof of concepts to production. Now, we have just seen how it can help accelerate software development, especially for your hackathon based development use cases. Now let's think of how it can help you. Agentic AI can help you reimagine business workflows with custom agents, right? So this is where you can think of one more. Yeah, my bad. So this is where you can think of different components to build an AI agent, right? What are all needed? You first need what are the goals and the tools that the AI agent has access to. It also needs memory to preserve the interactions that the end user is having, maybe for that particular session, for or over time as well, right? To ensure that you are giving a customized behavior for the end user, so that they can have a very personalized experience, right? So the user action gets sends whatever action that they are taking on the application, sends a request to the LLM. The LLM then leverages the tools or the goals that have been configured via prompts. It leverages data through a RAG based architecture, and it also stores customer conversations in memory, and it has also observation, observability, and guardrails in place. All of these put together is a packaged way to enterprise ready packaging to build AI agents. Now let's see how some of the AWS services can fit in each of these components, right? So that's where Amazon Bedrock comes in, which is what most of you would be leveraging for the hackathon as well. It's the easiest and fastest way to build and scale AI applications and agents. It's a serverless service. You have a broad choice of leading models. You can customize it with your own data. You can apply safety and responsible AI checks. You can optimize for cost, latency, and accuracy, and you can build and orchestrate agents, right? So on top of all of this, you have the AWS security, privacy, and reliability built in, like any other AWS product. So these are all the key differentiating capabilities. I briefly touched upon some of these in the previous slide when we saw the entire AWS AI stack. uh, Now let's see how specifically each of the components that I've, or the differentiating factors of Bedrock, can help you. First is choice is what matters in the field of AI models or agentic models. So that's where we have a diverse set of models from different vendors. We have models from our own factory of Amazon Nova models. We have Anthropic Claude, we have AI 21 Labs, we have Cohere, we have DeepSeek, we have Luma, we have Meta, we have Mistral. We also now have OpenAI specific set of open weight models. We have poolside models from Poolside, Stability AI, 12 Labs, and Writer. This model parameters, or these model feature sets and capabilities, are ever increasing. We are onboarding more and more partners onto our marketplace, as well as the Bedrock platform, for you to have the broadest choice of models. Now, coming to Agent Core, right? So that's where we are integrating with the open source. We are embracing open source with the help of MCP integration as well as A2A integration that's coming soon for most of our services. We have integration with frameworks like Crew AI, LandGraph, Strands Agent. So if you are looking to build your agentic application using any of these frameworks, you can be rest assured that these are all supported on top of the Bedrock platform using Agent Core. So now specifically to get into Agent Core, right? Like I mentioned, you have runtime, gateway, memory, observability, identity, code interpreter, and browser tool. So this forms the base of Agent Core. We will see in the next diagram how all of these fit together. Uh, on top of this Agent Core, you can connect it with any knowledge base. It's a vector store. Think of knowledge base as a vector store. Along with you have the capability to choose the embedding model as well. It's a serverless knowledge base. Instead of you having to provision and maintain your vector store, you have a pre managed or fully managed knowledge base available to you to connect for your rack based architectures. Then you have other capabilities in terms of packaging. Like I mentioned, you have guardrails, you have customization with your own data, you have cost and performance optimization, and you have model routing, model access, performance sorry, identifying the right model for use case. All of these are all possible on top of Bedrock. Now this is a single slide that helps you get an overview of how Agent Core can help you within Bedrock to build your own AI agents. So think of the agent runtime as the agent hosting service. So you have your model running outside. It could be on Bedrock, it could be on OpenAI, it could be on Gemini, but the agent is running within agent runtime. And the agent is running with the help of any or popular open source framework, be it Strands, LangChain, LangGraph, or Crew.ai, and we have added support for a few more open source frameworks as well. You have primarily three things that are running inside that, right? One is the agent instruction, the other one is agent local tools, and then you have the agent context. All three of these put together, you have plug it in along with your framework. You have a forever running agent loop, and that connects to a agent core gateway, which is, think of it as a translation layer between your existing REST APIs and converting that to something that is MCP compatible. So the agent runtime can leverage all of those existing REST APIs via MCP protocol, right? Instead of having to you having to build your own MCP servers, or for that matter, you have a bunch of AWS Lambda functions that are sitting inside your application setup. You want to expose that via MCP. That is also possible with the help of Agent Core Gateway. Then you have Agent Core Browser and you have Agent Core Code Interpreter, where think of scenarios where you want to automate activities in the browser. You want to have a secure sandboxed environment for every individual user, that's or every individual execution of the AI agent, so that there is no overlap or conflict between user sessions that are running in the browser, right? Then you have Agent Core Code Interpreter, where, like, let's say there is some specific business logic that is doing some math calculations and computations that's specific to your business. You want to run that as part of the agent invocation, because sometimes these GenAI models can hallucinate on numbers. They are not calculators, right? So you externalize or outsource the calculation components to a code interpreter where some script is running. Once the computations are done, you take the output and integrate it with your system, right, or your workflow, to have summaries and decision making and analysis where GenAI models are good at. Then you have Agent Core Identity. Think of it as a secure environment where you can store your tokens. You can store your think of it as a token vault, or for your OAuth integration, having clients created for this based on the OAuth 2.2 client credentials grant. All of that is easily set up. You can easily set up with the help of Agent Core Identity. Then you have Agent Core Memory on the left hand side. At the bottom you see memory, where you can think of it as a plug and play architecture for working with short term and long term memory use cases. What do I mean by short term and long term? Think of a user session data that is short term, but think of user preferences, that is long term, right? These are all different type of information that you want to preserve within your system somewhere, so that you give a personalized experience to the end user when they are running the agents. That's where agent core memory comes in. Think of it as a plug and play memory system. You don't have to provision and run anything. All of the components within agent core are fully managed and serverless. Now I would like to maybe take maybe a few minutes and talk about Strands agents also, so that you get a good idea of how to leverage Strands and what Strands is when you're building these agent orchestration and host it on agent core runtime, right? So Strands agents is an open source SDK for building agents using just a few lines of code. There is a great ease of use here. You have intuitive agent development to get started in minutes instead of hours. You have robust capabilities in terms of native tools, MCP servers, and natively integrated with AWS services. So you don't have to configure everything that's related to AWS is already pre-configured. It's just very declarative, easy to set up, and quickly gets you up and running. It is easy, extremely extensible. You have support for custom model providers, custom tools, MCP. So you are not just integrating with Bedrock as a platform, you can integrate with other popular vendors in the market as well. And obviously MCP integration is available out of the box to plug in your agent with any MCP compatible tool. You have the option to do rapid prototype development and iterate instead of you having to set up all the basic things from scratch. You can use a expert driven a pre-configured opinionated way to run these agents, and this is all open source. So now thinking about how you should start thinking about agentic AI from a mindset perspective when you're working on the hackathon, right? So work backwards from the business problem, right? Think of data as your differentiator. Generate some useful data that you can use for maybe feeding into a RAG architecture or a different way to customize the end user behavior with data as your differentiator. Trust drives adoption, which means basically you should ensure that users can trust your agentic AI system. It should not be hallucinating and should not be random. um, then you have to have the best price performance. So always try to leverage something that is fully managed, serverless, those kind of use cases, rather than something you have to self manage because operational costs are higher. So always go for something that has a better performance for the price that you're paying. And as much as possible embrace multi-agent environments to have complex scenarios or features also automated with the help of AI agents. So this just goes over what I have just mentioned. I'm just quickly going through. So in terms of what are things that you can focus on, try to ensure you are uh, looking at things that are probably, especially for the hackathon, something that can be done with low effort but has high value, right? Quick wins. That could be something that can give you with a lower amount of effort. If you can within the hackathon period show something of high value, that would enable you to win the hackathon, rather than thinking about complex use cases that you may not be able to fully build out during the hackathon itself. Instead think of, and it may not, if it's not adding a lot of business value, it doesn't make sense. So think of ideas that can generate a lot of business value with lower effort, which can be great quick wins, right? These are all different use cases across industries to give you some idea of how you can think of similar use cases for this hackathon. In automotive, I'm just briefly touching on a couple of them. Automotive, you can do AI powered contact center management, supply chain optimization. In financial services, you have insurance underwriting optimization, investment research assistant. For retail and consumer goods, you have agentic shopping assistants, you have supply chain reallocation. Like this, you have an n number of ideas. So you can go and search for different case studies within AWS. If you just go do a public search, you'll get a lot of ideas that you can use for getting some inspiration for this hackathon. So like I mentioned, building a strong data foundation for agentic AI is extremely critical. So see if you can generate some useful data, maybe some public data source, or you can simulate some dummy data for showcasing your hackathon problem statement. So I'm quickly skipping to some parts where that may be of relevance to you. Yeah, vector solutions for all your AI use cases. So we have open search service on AWS. We have S3 vectors. All of these are highly scalable, highly performant, cost efficient, which you can leverage. So in terms of guardrails, this I have already mentioned. Ensure that you are leveraging guardrails. You can do content filtering. You can do deny, automated reasoning, denied topics. You can do contextual grounding. All of these help with, ensuring your model is not hallucinating. It's not responding on content that it's not supposed to respond. It's not, talking about sensitive topics. It's not, spitting out any sensitive words. You can do word filters. All of these are possible on top of guardrails, so you should ensure that the end users can trust your model or your agentic AI system. Yeah, I'm getting into and one more thing is AWS has ISO for 42001 in a certification, so any solution you develop on top of that will be compliant with that as well. So I would like to touch upon Amazon Nova models also here. From a price performance perspective, always when you think about the deployed solution, you have to always think about cost of the solutions as well. That's where Nova as a model is extremely price performant, and it brings state of the art foundation models that deliver frontier intelligence, right? And within Nova, you have Amazon Nova Micro, you have Amazon Nova Lite, you have Amazon Nova Pro, Premier, and Act. Each of these are progressively complex models. Nova Micro is text only model, which can help you with simpler tasks, quick fast responses. It's a small model, whereas Amazon Nova Lite and Pro are multimodal and can help with most of the higher order or complex use cases, whereas Premier is a model which can crunch humongous amounts of data, even thousands of pages of documents. It can read through, analyze. It's a model that can be used as a model for doing distillation. All of these are all possible through Nova Premier. And we have Nova Act for automation capabilities, UI based integrations, where you can have natural language to user interaction, human computer interaction use cases built on top of Nova Act. So it's 75% more cost effective. It is optimized for agentic applications, especially the ones that are integrated with tools through APIs. And then it can be used to distill and train smaller models, right? So all of these are some differentiated capabilities on top of Amazon Nova. Finally, I mentioned embrace multi-agent as a way to think, right? So leverage as much as possible MCP based servers. We have a lot of AWS MCP servers for documentation, for infra and deployment, for AI and machine learning, for data analytics. If you just go to GitHub and search for AWS MCP servers, you get almost close to 100 MCP servers that can be used for different things. For example, if you're looking to build Terraform or CDK templates, we have Terraform and CDK MCP server. We have relational database Postgres MCP server. We have diagram creation, AWS diagramming MCP server, to convert natural language based inputs into automated diagrams. You don't even have to move a finger. You just you just say what you want in terms of the diagram, without you having to create it. With the diagramming MCP server, it will create a end-to-end diagram for you. So like this, you have umpteen number of use cases where we have launched MCP servers. So go search for AWS MCP servers. So bringing it all together now, right? You have to these systems have to plan and perceive, understand the environment and goals, remember past interactions and learning, decide and act, take informed authorized actions, execute across tools, systems and interfaces, and finally learn and improve. It should monitor outcomes, adapt behaviors, and improve over time with memory and observability, right? So AWS helps you do all of this and scale AI agents with confidence. You have the ability to do rapid innovation and you have all the fundamental things required: security, observability, data governance, integrations, and scalability, right? I just have maybe 2 3 more slides, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So to reiterate on top of what we have just discussed so far, always try to build solutions that embrace agility, ensure there are strong fundamentals, you are innovating with your data, and then you are able to do this much faster with the help of ready to use templates and services that are available. So I think this is a good place to give you guys the different phases of how you can think through. you know First, do the discovery, understanding, finalize the business use case, then decide on the models and the AI framework that you will be using, and what data foundation you're going to use. Then think about security, compliance, and legal considerations for the solution that you're developing. Then think about responsible AI, how that will factor into your solution. What is the value that you're creating out of your solution? That is also important. Then you have to think about how do you do this development faster, how do you optimize and evaluate. Then you do the actual deployment, and once this is you have shown uh, at the end of the hackathon that this is actually providing business value, then work to actually take it to enterprise scale, right? So this is a mental model for you to actually think on how you can plan for the hackathon as well. Yeah. So I think you can, when you get time, you can scan these QR codes to see different agentic AI demos that we have pre-built. There is an investment analyst, there is a multi-agent collaboration, there's a e-bike smart factory demos that we have available. So please do scan these QR codes for you to see the end-to-end demos. So there is a agent code demo that I think, let me try to see if we can play it here. Let me have a quick time check. I think we have 10 minutes. So in the interest of time, I'm stopping here. For interested folks, I'll share the link to the agent core demo that you can see end to end. That's available on YouTube. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hope you found the information that I have shared useful. All the best for the hackathon. We can open it up for Q&A.
All right, great. That was a wonderful session. Thank you, Muthu. I'll just quickly open the floor for our questions. So we have two questions. I'll start with Be Geeky with Manish. Can we make our own idea for just the theme-based ideas? Well, I'll just address this question.
Sure.
Well, Manish, we have three defined idea statements over there, and we have one open innovation. So you can just check out the open innovation tab. You will be able to find something you can make out of that as well. Let's just quickly go on to the next question. Aman Khair has a question. How does this work with real-time update on the DB that is used by the AI agent client?
Got it. So when you maybe I'll just rephrase the question. Please correct, in case my understanding is incorrect. So you're talking about maybe WebSocket style real-time updates, and from the database, if there are real-time updates, you want it visible on the conversational interface. If that is the requirement, then what you can do is, have the agentic AI, system in the conversational interface. You can have a message that can be pulled via something like API gateway WebSockets, which has the capability to have bidirectional communication. So whenever there's an update on your database, you can use a WebSockets based connection to actually send a message to the user interface that you're building, right? So that way you can push the data from the server side into the client, leveraging services like API gateway WebSockets, or for that matter AWS AppSync. So this can be done with the help of the serverless AWS services. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Indeed, that should does. We Going on to another question. Yash Diwan, what hackathon is it? Well, Yash, this is SuperHack 2025. This is being organized by SuperOps and is powered by AWS and Hack to Scale. You can just check out the link mentioned in the below in the chat section. It's the registration link. Just check it out. You can register yourself and do check out all the themes and the price money and everything. Moving on next, again, Manish, open innovation is also supported. Yes, Manish, open innovation is supported. All right. Some guy has a question. Can we integrate third-party APIs easily into AWS-based agents? What would you like to answer this
Yeah,
question?
yeah, yeah. That's definitely possible. So I mentioned about agent core gateway, right? Where you can plug in any third-party API as long as they are even if they are not MCP compatible, right? There are two options here. If they are already MCP compatible, you can directly configure it as a tool with an agent core runtime. So it's straight away integratable. Let's say you don't have MCP compatibility, you have only third-party APIs alone. Then you can convert that APIs into MCP compatible APIs as long as you have their open API spec or a Swagger file definition, right? You integrate that into Bedrock Agent Core Gateway, and you instantly convert that into MCP compatible server and integrate it with your agents running on AWS. These are the two options that you have.
All right, good. Going on ahead. Shikhar Tyagi, what are the key AWS services recommended for building an AI agent?
Yeah, great question. So I would highly encourage leveraging Bedrock Agent Core for building AI agents on AWS, right? And use Kiro as a AI IDE for helping you do the coding tasks, right? So these are two things that I would highly encourage you to try out, especially for this hackathon.
All right, cool. Okay, moving on ahead, we have Hitesh Shamdani. Can we recommend any additional resources beyond the session for understanding AWS services for agent build?
Great. So you can there are two great sources that I would suggest you go folks to try out. So go to GitHub and then search for Bedrock Agent Core samples. You would have a great bunch of examples on what we just spoke about on building end-to-end AI agents. So you'll have pre-built frameworks and code available that you can instantly deploy and try out. Right. So that's a great place for you to understand how these things have been already coded. They are pre-packaged solutions that will enable you to prepare for the hackathon as well. That is one source. The second source is obviously AWS blogs and documentation. So search for agent core blogs, and then you would find a bunch of AWS blogs where you would be able to find how you can leverage these services to build end-to-end agents. So these are two resources that I'll suggest. One is on GitHub, Bedrock Agent Core samples repository, and the other one is AWS blogs and documentation.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Hitesh. Moving on ahead, we have another question from one of our participants. What are the key AWS services recommended for building an AI agent?
Got it. So, like I just mentioned, right, to build the AI agents, go with Bedrock Agent Core. I think there is a follow-up question also that mentions, can we use all the AWS tools you have said in the session, right? I'll answer both together. So
Yeah, okay.
for the hackathon, mostly the availability of services that you'd be leveraging would be within the Bedrock ecosystem. Like I mentioned, you would not be building models from scratch or anything, right? So you would already leverage existing models available on Bedrock. With the help of those existing models, you would build AI agents using agent core, right? And you can obviously use Kiro or Amazon Q developer, which have free tiers as well, for you to try out the agentic coding part. So these are the key three items that you'll be leveraging for building agents on AWS, including the hackathon.
Great. Wonderful. So I hope that answers all of your questions, guys. If you guys have any more questions, please drop it in our chat. Uh, okay, we have another question from Brawl. Is the AWS Bedrock ecosystem paid?
Yes, the Bedrock ecosystem is paid. It is charged based on pay as you go model. where you are charged based on the consumption. There are various different types of consumptions. It would be on the number of tokens that you end up using, number of APIs that you end up calling. There are multiple parameters under which Bedrock pricing comes into picture. You can search for AWS Bedrock pricing, and then you would be able to find the documentation link that contains all the information about Bedrock pricing. But for the hackathon, mostly since you'll be building using agent core and Bedrock, that should be taken care for at least the folks who are getting selected. Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so Plato's Playbook has a question. When will all the links to the demos be available?
So
He had a few
probably
more questions. Yes,
po,
cool.
po,
Please go ahead.
yeah, we'll add it as probably a comment towards the end of the session or post the session, in case you are having challenges with the demo links. That's something we can do. Yeah.
Sure, that would be wonderful. I hope that answers your question, Trato. If we have any more questions, please do ask. We're here right now. We still have 2 minutes. We'll just wait for 1 minute more, Muthu, and then we'll just wrap it up.
Sure.
If anybody else has a question, we can wait.
Sure.
All right, so I think nobody has any more question. So if in case anybody has a question, I'm just dropping the support email ID on our chat. Please check it out, and if you have any questions, just reach us out on over there. We'll get back to you within no time. With that, thank you, Muthu. Thank you for coming and hosting this wonderful session. I'm really sorry. I will just have one more question over here.
Yeah,
Aman
sure.
Thakur has a question. Can you explain a demo workflow?
Got it. So think of a demo workflow as, like, let's say, maybe I'll take 1 minute and then explain it, and then we can close it. So let's take the example of a use case where you're doing insurance underwriting. So for insurance underwriting, you have to basically evaluate all the tests that were taken. Let's take the example of a term insurance or a health insurance. So let's say, uh, after all the data is available, the system, the AI agent, has to first check what's the profile of the user. It has to talk to a system, get the profile information. Then it has talked to a different system that has all the outputs of the test reports that for a particular applicant was evaluated with. Then you have the actual policy that they are trying to buy, and for that policy, what are all the conditions and parameters. It has to understand that, and now with all of this put together, it has to issue out a policy along with the underwriting itself, right? Now all of these involves different systems, which have to be, you have to make API calls to different systems, and then give it as input to the LLM model for it to take decisions. So each of these systems will now be called as tools or knowledge sources, right? And there'll be API calls that will be available to integrate with each of these. Your AI agent has to be able to, your AI agent, is, think of it as an orchestration script. That script keeps calling the LLM and the tools that we just spoke about on loop until it is able to achieve the final underwriting information or content, right? This is a simple example of a end-to-end demo workflow. If you're interested, search for on YouTube, agent core demo workflows, AWS agent core demo workflows. You'll see multiple examples as well.
Okay, we have another question. Ruchika, what KPIs or metrics would MSPs use to measure success for an AI agent?
So this may be something that I think the SuperOps team would be able to, answer better, since they have a lot more domain expertise from MSP standpoint.
All right, cool. So, Ruchika, you can just send us your support query on support@hackerskill.com and we'll just get back to you within no time. All right, I believe that's it. So a huge thank you to everyone who joined our session today. Your engagement was insightful, and the questions that you guys have asked was wonderful. And thank you for making it so much engaging. We hope this session has provided you with the clarity and inspiration for building your impactful solutions for SuperHack 2025. Keep those ideas innovative and flowing. Thank you and see you soon. Thank you, Muthu.